Hey there, this is John's Mate Reviews, and I'm John. And today is another beautiful sunny day in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's a little chilly today. It's in the 40s today. It's in December, so I'm glad to be back. If a lot of you guys have been wondering where I've been, so I was on furlough at work when I revived my channel, and I was kind of enjoying it. I was pumping out a lot of mate reviews, and then my job came back online. So I have a free day today, and I want to keep the channel going. So I just wanted to give you guys keep you guys in the loop. So today we're going to be reviewing CBSe Gaurana. So if you don't know what Gaurana is, I'm kind of excited to review it. It's another caffeine-containing plant, and just like yerba mate, it doesn't hit quite the same as coffee, right? So in yerba mate, coffee, Gaurana, green tea, whatever you're going to drink, there's different stimulants in there. It's not just caffeine. There's caffeine, theobromine, and a few others. I couldn't pronounce them, especially off the top of my head. But I'm excited to try this because it's a flavored mate, but it's also a little bit more than a mate. And according to a lot of my research and a lot of my reading and my personal experience, the caffeine kick on this is going to be a little different from other mates. So with that, let's get into the smell. The smell is very floral. Again, as with almost every flavored mate that I've ever tried, you still get that earthy mate flavor, right? Those scents of green growth and verdance that you get with any mate, and that little bit of a malty edge, that smoky malty edge. But with this, if I could describe the flavor, well, the smell, I would almost describe it as purple. You can smell, it's very floral. It's very floral, very fruity, very sweet. I can almost taste it when I smell it. It's a very potent scent, but it smells very good. Let's get into the flavor. So this is about one cycle in right now. Earlier yesterday, I did a full cycle of this mate just to know what I'm talking about today, and I had a very good experience with it, but let's talk about the flavor. I really can't describe the flavor. It's very good, it's sweet, and think a lot of the things I said about the flavor, or I said about the scent, applies to the flavor. In fact, the flavor is almost identical to the scent, right? But I can't pinpoint it because it's so unique. My delicate American palate has never tasted something quite like this. It's sweet, but it's also a little bit savory, right? It's sweet, but it's not too potent. It's like it's in between, like a sweet aftertaste and like a piece of cake in a way I can't really describe. This is definitely a mate that you'll need to try on your own. Wonderful flavor, wonderful flavor. So before I forget, let's also talk about the leaf cut, shall we? So this, like most mates and pretty much any CBSe you order, is going to have that traditional con palo cut with stems, very powdery, right? But not quite as powdery, I've noticed, as CBSe pomelo. So maybe that's just the bag I got, but yeah. So it's kind of a dry mate. I wouldn't say I wouldn't say it's a negative leaf quality, really, but it definitely has like a little bit harsher of a look to it. So it's not Instagram mate, but hey, it doesn't really matter in my book. So I know I mentioned earlier about the caffeine. So I have read that the caffeine hits you differently, and I can attest. The caffeine buzz I've gotten on this, it might be total placebo. I will admit this. It might be total placebo. Because somebody tells you something's going to affect you differently, you're going to think that it affects you differently. It's like how for years a lot of people swore up and down that mate didn't have caffeine and it had matine, and it was this unique chemical, and everybody was like, oh, well, it hits me so differently, and then it turned out it literally just was caffeine. But yeah, so, take what I say with a grain of salt because it could totally be placebo, but Man, I swear this hits me differently than normal mate. The caffeine content alone is a lot more muted in this compared to other mates, especially other CBSes, which, again, I really like. I don't like a super strong mate that's going to bomb me with caffeine. I like something a little smoother, and this definitely has it. But I don't get I don't really get jittery with mate, but I don't really get wired with this. So that could just be because it's a milder mate, or that could be the guarana in it. But hey, if you're looking for like a little bit more of a chilling effect, like you get an energy buzz, but it's not too much, I'd say this is worth a shot. And again, I don't really want to compare it to other mates. Like normally when I compare other mates in terms of caffeine content, I compare it like, oh, well, is this more like Playadito, where it's really mild and you can drink cycle after cycle after cycle without getting too wired, or is it more like Rosamante Especial, where you have like 2 or 3 cycles and you're bouncing off the walls? I don't really want to compare it to that because in my mind I feel that it's kind of different from other mates because of the guarana in it. But if I had to compare it, I would say in my experience it is I'd say it's about 30% more energizing than Playadito. So a very mild mate, a good place to start. So let's also talk about the durability a little bit. I have read, again, the type of mate drinker I am, it's funny. I got my Stanley thermos. It's all covered in stickers. I never go through more than half of my thermos. I don't drink a lot of mate. I love mate. I drink mate frequently, but I don't like crashing on caffeine. So typically for me, I don't drink more than 7 to 10 cycles of mate. And by the time I'm on my 10th cycle, I'm usually like, hey, if I want to sleep tonight, I better cut this off. So in my experience, I have never run into an issue with this where I had to refill the gourd. And according to my research, I've read that you can expect 15 to 20 cycles out of this mate. So if you're an all-day mate drinker and you just keep on chugging mate and you have a double Stanley flask, you might have to refill your gourd a few times. However, if you're like me, you don't need to go through a whole flask of mate every day. This is just fine. It'll do just fine. It doesn't strike me as a particularly delicate mate, but it's also not a particularly robust mate where it's going to last cycle after cycle after cycle. So in terms of price, I ordered this off goyerbamate.com. For 1.1 pounds or 500 grams, this ran me about $8, so not bad. I'd consider this premium mate just because of the flavoring. The flavor is really good, if you can't tell. But yeah, so I'd say the price, this is definitely worth the price. I think anybody, if you're ever on Go Yerba Mate and you're ordering your mates for the next 6 months, definitely give this one a shot. So yeah, I would give this a 4 out of 5 stars. I maybe a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I'll say that. I don't know. Like, there's a part of me that wants to give it a 5 stars, but I've never given a mate 5 stars before. And I feel like if a mate was going to be a 5-star mate, it would have to like send me into orbit. So this didn't send me into orbit over the moon, but this is a really good mate. I really like it. The flavor's there. It's a mild effect. It's a decent leaf quality. It's definitely something I'd recommend giving a shot. So if you guys enjoyed, please leave a like and a comment. It helps me out with the algorithm. Now YouTube, you should see the like button glowing. That's so fun, isn't it? I like that. Though if this video doesn't do that, I'm going to look really silly and you can make fun of me. So also, please let me know, what mates do you want me to review next? Is there any specific mate that you want me to review? Is there any video topic that you want me to review? I remember I saw a comment not too long ago asking me how I made my yerba mate in a French press. I'm thinking of doing some videos like that. And or even more broadly, is there any other teas that you want me to review, like per ET? I'm willing to branch out a mate if you guys have any ideas or any desires, anything you want me to see. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Please enjoy and keep on sipping mate.